farmers
Call
market.
this meeting to order. Please silence all your electronic devices so we can conduct business, and stand for the invocation, please. Join me in the Lord's Prayer. Our Father,
Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil.
pledge, please. Pledge allegiance.
To the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Any public comments?
Yes.
All speakers should have signed up in advance with the city clerk. Please use the podium in front of us here. State your name and address before beginning your statement. You'll be limited to 5 minutes. Please address your comments to the chair. Council will not engage in debate with the speaker. On the first bell, that means you have 30 seconds left. Please wrap it up, because on the second bell, your time will be up.
Gregory Levins Higgins.
Good evening. Gregory Levins Higgins, 540 East Main Street, here in Batavia. I moved to Batavia about 3 years ago. I'm a student. I'm graduating this semester, finally. I'm hoping to stick around Batavia afterward, find employment here. I'm here because I believe that the farmers market is a vital piece of the community that I've moved to. It's somewhere where we can access affordable food right from the farmers. It's somewhere where families can take their kids and show them where the food comes from, and great place for family activities. I know last year they had a kids' day that was very popular. And I'm concerned because I heard that this market that is the core of our community would be moving maybe to the outskirts or maybe to another town in the county. And I think it's really important that it stays here and that it remains accessible. Not everybody that attends the market, and many people that attend the market, don't have cars to drive 10 minutes to the busy side of the city to access the resources that the market has. So I hope that as I continue my residency in Batavia and looking forward into the future, that the market remains at its vital place where it is with the full support of the City Council. Thank you.
Thank you. Any response, any council response to that?
I have a very short one. Welcome to Batavia, Gregory, and congratulations on your graduation that's upcoming.
Looking forward to it. Thank you.
Anyone else? Communications?
The First Presbyterian Church is looking to hold a Good Friday service on Friday, April 15th at 12 p.m. outside of City Hall.
Any concerns on that? You've seen the application? Get a chance to go over it? Any concerns? Okay, next one.
And the second one is the Genesee Country Farmers Market, scheduled to start on Friday, June 3rd, running through October 28th, every Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. It would be in the J.C. Penney parking lot with food, produce, crafts, and artisans.
I have just a couple concerns. It's more on typos in this. They select that they're closing a street, but there's yes and no. So they're not really closing the street, are they?
No, we did follow up. I think it's just the location of the box because it's between the yes and no. A lot of people will accidentally pick.
Well, and then the other
wrong
part
box.
is no one signed it.
We did get a revised.
So our copy went out before they happened?
Correct.
That's all I wanted to make sure, because
Yeah.
someone has to be responsible.
Yes, we
and-
did request that.
Other than that, I have no problems with it. I'm more than welcome it to be.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Nope, sounds good.
No?
Okay, so that's approved. The next city council conference and business meeting will be held on Monday, April 11th, 7 p.m. City Hall Council Boardroom, second floor, City Center. And we have the youth board update.
Yes.
Thank you, Council President. The City Youth Board has served the city youth for a long time and done an extremely good job. And when they were a solo act, we only had the Youth Board, the functions of the board were different than they are now. With the advent of the Y taking over and the Liberty Center, they pretty much have done a splendid job and a far better job than we as a city can do. The one thing that also happened is that as the Y became more predominant and Liberty Center, the strength of the youth board, if you will, the membership dwindled. Right now, there's only, aside from myself, there's only 2 active members. We have no students involved in it. And we really, because of what is taking place within the Y and everywhere else, we really don't serve the same function as before. We aren't, we aren't a provider, so to speak. The Y's the provider, and the Liberty Center. Well, we generally met once a month. It's become increasingly apparent that simply isn't a factor anymore. This board, the board, if it still exists at all, should become an advisory board and only meet 3 or 4 times a year. We don't dictate policy to the Y. We don't dictate policy to the Liberty Center. And we could, serve the public better by having the people on those boards take slots in other city government positions that we have, and we always need volunteers. The people on that board have done an extremely good job, and they should be congratulated and acknowledged for the work they did, right from Jocelyn all the way through. We don't need to keep elaborating on it, but there's no need for the board to continue on a monthly basis, and it should go to 3 or 4 times a year, again, with the consent of council, taking a view on it. That's it.
Rachel?
And I'd just like to add, there might be a great opportunity for the board to work on project-specific type opportunities, and in this case, part of the ARPA funding that council approved back in November was for an inclusive playground at Austin Park, and there will be a steering committee, and it was my hope that council would approve allowing us to invite the youth board members to be part of that steering committee for the process moving forward of the inclusive playground at Austin Park.
Well, and I think that it's important that they stay active because the Y has their policies, but we are the customer, so our needs may change, and that would come from the advice of the youth board, maybe to suggest the Y cover different aspects of youth engagement or whatnot. There might be something they could input into that so that we can then, as a member, direct the Y to then change some things as to how they serve us as the customer for their services, right?
And we could do that purely as an advisory position.
Right, and not meet every month, but more like
Right.
quarterly to kind of make sure that the Y's doing their job and just like kind of keep an eye on things. I mean, if that's, because I don't see it going away totally.
No.
At least not yet.
No.
I'd like it to be around for a little longer, at least keep an eye on the Y and make sure they're providing the services we're expecting to get. And I think that's an awesome idea to help with Austin Park as a youth board to be involved with the youth using the park.
And they can
It
feel
is.
like they're still
It's-
important, that they're still a part of
Yeah.
the decision-making.
So, yeah, I've got no problem with that whatsoever. And I think it is very important that as everything morphs and changes, that we acknowledge the individuals, the citizens that sat on that board, or still sitting on that board, with some kind of a letter of appreciation.
Whatever you guys want.
Yeah, I agree with Rachel and the council president, but I think it should just stay as the youth board, and they should decide when they should have their meetings. In other words, if they have a project going on like Austin Park, they may want to have a meeting in 3 weeks and another one 2 weeks after that, and then not have a meeting for 3 months. So, as a board, it should be up to them to decide to have meetings as necessary. And, and if they want to just make advisory decisions, let them decide what to do. So, I think, Rachel, they could be a big assist on the Austin Park mission.
And I think they'd enjoy it, and that's really part of their mission, is to find opportunities for youth, connect people in the community, connect the schools, and this stakeholder group and steering group, I think they'd all do very well. And serve the
Councilmember
city well.
McGinnis said that boards do morph into other functions, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's keeping up with the times, so.
Are they required to meet monthly? Is that why you're bringing this up?
Yes, the part of the requirements were monthly meetings, and there was also in the bylaws, like there is for the zoning and board planning, a limitation on the number of years you could serve.
Right.
Well, because of the way things have happened, we have people on the board that have served well past the tenure because we can't find anybody to replace them. And these people have done an excellent job over the course of, the time that we've been involved with them. So, yeah, it's like anything else in life, things, the functionality of an organization changes, and you have to change with it.
So I mean, what would we have to do to allow them the freedom, like Bob said, to not meet monthly if there's nothing to meet about, and have more flexibility with their meeting schedule? Would there be a bylaws change, or would that be something council would do, or that something the youth board would do, and then council approves? How does that work?
I would think we'd have to ask Rachel or Jill to look into it and make sure that we stay within the limits of the law and do it that way.
George, do you have any input on this?
Yeah, it's, to the extent it's spelled out in the bylaws, we can certainly review the bylaws, and if the board were interested in making a change and recommending the change to council, we can take a look at that. It's not necessarily a matter of law, it's a matter of just their board bylaws.
It's more of a policy, yeah. So if you question or bring it up to the youth board,
I'll do
and
so.
see how they want to proceed from here, and then bring it back, and we'll definitely accommodate that, right?
Can I just ask a question? Did the Y talk to you about this, and as far as the board saying, listen, we would like the board just to be advisory because we're so involved in everything we're doing for the youth and so
No.
forth? Okay, I didn't know if. Okay.
The Y has been very good to work with, as has Liberty Center.
Okay.
And, everything they've done has been, well, let's face it, they're in the business of children. We aren't. We're in the business of government. We do government very well. We don't do children well. That's not our job. That's the Y's job. And we need to keep that in perspective. Yes, oversight, like Councilman Bykowski pointed out, is very important. But I don't think we need a constant oversight as we do now.
Right.
Since we don't generate programs anymore. That's done by,
Right.
under
Which
each.
was a lot of work in the past.
Okay.
Yeah, if you would just bring it up to them, and then,
Okay.
Is that board required by the charter? Is it in the charter?
I think it was just a board that was formed, and then it's for that purpose.
Yeah.
So the purpose is kind of changing,
Sure.
so
Be
the
piece of
board
cake
should
then.
change and be more flexible as to how they adapt to this new situation, and you guys should have a say in it. The board should be the one to have the say, so work it out with them, and then bring it back and
Yeah.
see what happens.
At our next scheduled meeting, I will do that and bring the results back to council.
Thank you.
Jill's working together with you, right? You said
Yes,
she was.
yes.
Anyone else have any comments?
No.
Okay. Client first, 6-month contract extension?
What you have before you is a request to extend the client first contract for a period of 6 months, not to exceed $44,640. They bill as they're needed, so we may not use that in their 6 months, we may not use all that money, but they're quite a group to be involved with and have assistance with the ERP project.
Any questions on it? You have the memo in your packet, and I guess it talks about COVID delaying some things, so there's still some need for them to help with us on our software changeover.
Yeah, we're in a situation where, of course, there's been some delays as a result of COVID, so things are not being out live as anticipated, so there is a delay involved in that. They also bring a lot of information and talent to the conversation. So they also act as a resource to make sure that we're making the best decision possible, not only for the city, but for the community.
Is council approved to move that to the next business meeting for a vote?
Yes.
Okay, it's moved. Historian compensation?
Thank you, Council President. What you have before you is a resolution seeking to create a compensation model for the city's historian. This was discussed by council during the budget conversations. I do think it's very valuable, the information our current historian, which is Larry Barnes, brings to the city. Not only does he help with different requests from citizens and folks from out of town, but he also writes many books, which I'm sure many of you have enjoyed, and he is working on one now about Batavia in the pandemic. So the work he does is invaluable, and I think I commend council for bringing it up as an opportunity to support Larry in the position of historian.
Any comments on that? Bob?
Yeah, had the pleasure of working with Mr. Barnes on the zoning board some years back, and he attended every meeting, and he was very conscientious and did a great job, and I got to know him through that, but he's a very conscientious person, and we're lucky to have him.
Yeah.
Well, and he's been doing this for free, basically, for how long?
It's not hard to go back and look up history, but once you lose it, he's keeping current history, which is even better.
Right.
I think it's wonderful. I love the work he does, and he brings up things that no one even asks him. He works very hard at it.
And he gets a lot of calls from people
Oh, he does.
throughout the year, you know, looking up history that started or evolved in Batavia, and they're looking for more information.
Yeah.
So he's pretty busy, and he's been doing this pretty much as a volunteer.
He really is.
When other communities are paying a professional historian to keep records. So I think it's wise we maybe bring it up to a reasonable salary, which I
Yes.
think we're talking here, $5,000 a year. And from what I know of Larry, a lot of that will go towards covering his expenses.
Yes, it will.
Basically more than compensation, so. Anything else anyone would like to add to that? So we're in favor of moving that to the next
Yes.
business meeting
Yes.
for a vote?
Yes.
Okay, that gets moved. Contract for lab bids?
Thank you, Council President. Before you, we have one lab bid. So the wastewater treatment plant and the water treatment plant periodically have to have samples sent out for different testing. And at this point, we only received one bidder back, and this was their price for the year. Michael, do you have anything to add?
That's it.
Is this in line with what we paid in the past, or is this about right, since we've only got one?
It didn't
bid?
go up much from last year.
It did
did
not
it?
go up much.
No, it's pretty much in line of last year,
Oh.
yes.
And it's
Typically-
covered in both plants, that's why there's two amounts.
Yeah, typically we have more vendors that actually bid on it, but this year we did not.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. Is there just a little typo, because on the bid here, it says 10,010, but on the resolution, it says 10,000 even.
I think
Not
the
the 10,000.
resolution has a typo, and we'll have it fixed for the final business meeting, Tammy. Thank you.
Good catch, I read that, never even noticed that.
Well, leave it up to a fiscal person that works with numbers all day long, every day.
Yeah.
It would create, it would cause a balance and imbalance in the books, they'd be looking for it for
They
years.
They'd be looking for that $10.
Exactly, you might look
We
for
don't want
it
to
for a
cause any
month.
problem.
We'll have it fixed for the final resolution.
Or
So-
you would have to just ask them to take $10 less.
Any questions, anybody else have anything to add to that? All right, are we in favor of moving the corrected version over to the next business meeting for a vote?
Yeah.
Okay. SRO agreement?
I'll start off, and then I'll ask the police chief to say a few words. But the city, since 2019, has been involved in providing a police officer to the schools, a safety resource officer, and I believe the program has gone exceptionally well. The communication between the school and not only management, but the police department is better than it ever has been. When there's issues like parking or traffic issues, we're able to work directly with the superintendent. So not only is there that, but there's the opportunity for the officer that's on site to provide services to students and to the administration and faculty there. So this would be a 2-year extension. The school pays the entire salary and benefits of the officer. We provide the car, uniform, and gear of the officer. Chief?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a great collaboration. We've started back in 2019. The current SRO absolutely loves her job, and they love having her. So it's a win-win on both sides for everybody.
Chief, how is the salary, is it like base pay, or is it the actual, because by the time someone goes over there, usually they can be a little more senior. So is it just basically you're backfilling and they're paying for like a new officer somewhere else? Or?
Nope, they're paying for the officer that's assigned as the resource officer now. So
Okay,
the actual salary and benefits of that individual.
All right, good. Just, I mean, I didn't know how they actually worked out. It's a small amount, but it does add up.
Oh, yeah.
Any other questions?
And the school, Chief, the school resource officer attends all the sporting events?
Not all of them, but there is a schedule that the district likes the school resource officer to be in attendance at. It usually goes above and beyond what, honestly, the individual is capable of, so sometimes we have to backfill with security details, but they reimburse us for those as well.
Still being semi-involved with the school system, I have to tell you, it is very well received by parents and by the staff.
Well, thank you. Glad to hear that.
Anyone else? So are we in favor of moving the SRO agreement to the next business meeting for a vote? Okay, then, let's do it. Temporary detective position.
Thank you, Council President. The police department is planning for an upcoming retirement in the Detectives Bureau, and we'd like to be able to remain fully staffed in that bureau over time and have training go on by hiring a temporary detective who would then become permanent full-time once the detective retires, to which we believe will happen over the summertime. So this would be taking a current officer that is on the civil service list that goes through the hiring process and making them a temporary detective as a way to then move in full-time into that office.
Any questions?
No, I think it's an excellent idea. Like you said, kind of get in that position to move up. I think it's great.
And I'll give Chief all the credit for the idea.
Well, we've done this before recently, and we don't always have the resources to do it, but having the resources to do it saved us a lot of time and effort on the last time. So it's been successful, so I think continue on, as long as we have success and it saves us time and effort and money, I think it's a good idea.
So as a temporary, he's in a full-time position as well, correct?
Correct, and I'll let Dawn speak to any specifics about a temporary employee.
Temporary employees, as far as civil service goes, is an 18-month period, which would not exceed what we're looking to fill next summer. They are full-time, they get the same benefits, it's just a temporary position. And then when the detective vacates it because of retirement, then that person will just be permanently appointed in that full-time.
And
Permanent
temporary position dissolves.
Correct.
Unless we need it somewhere else.
Sounds great.
And so basically, you're paying for the increase in pay for the promotional part, because it's already a senior officer, it's going to be moved into that position. So you're talking the increase for the promotion, so it's not a full whole salary. And then once that person retires, a rookie officer will be hired, and then he'll become permanent, and then that detective will retire out.
And if finances are looking really good, we would fill that road position even sooner.
Right.
That's a conversation Chief and I have kind of laid out our timelines on, but an opportunity exists there as well.
Sounds
Any other questions?
Yeah, I just want to bring up the parade.
Oh, go ahead. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot it. I didn't write that down.
Sorry.
Thank you.
I just want to point out, we're working, the city will be sponsoring the Memorial Day Parade again this year. I know when it's 17 degrees and snow, and it's hard to think about a parade, but we're working on that. The staff is applying for the permits. I've already given Angie, a press release, and invitations will be going out within the next couple of weeks to the various groups that have attended it in the past. So if everybody puts it on their calendar, Memorial Day, and we'll be meeting up at the East Town Plaza. Everything stays the same, so, won't disrupt too much of the community. Thank you.
And I apologize, I was supposed
That's
to
right.
add that to the council report so that he could get the notice out as early as possible without waiting to the next business meeting. So thank you for that, Bob. And we are in consensus to move that temporary detective position to the business meeting. Okay? We have also now, because we moved the lab bids, actually moved to the special business meeting for tonight. I guess it's time sensitive, Rachel? That's
It is, so we actually went out to bid for this twice because we were...
So I probably should close the conference meeting.
Sure.
So, motion to adjourn the conference meeting. Mr. Canale, seconded by Mr. Richmond. Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Canale?
Yes.
McGinnis?
Yes.
Briggs?
Yes.
Schmidt? Richmond?
Yes.
Bayakowski?
Yes.
Jankowski?
Yes.
Pacino?
Yes.
Okay. Conference meeting is closed. I will now open the regular business meeting, or a special business meeting. The one resolution is number 31, 2022, the lab bids. Who would like that one? Mr. Canale? And if you would, please.
Thank you, Council President. I move a resolution awarding purchase contracts for laboratory services.
Seconded by Mr. Bayakowski. Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Canale?
Yes.
McGinnis?
Yes.
Briggs?
Yes.
Schmidt? Richmond?
Yes.
Bayakowski?
Yes.
Jankowski?
Yes.
Pacino?
Yes.
Okay. And if you would take us into executive session, please.
I will indeed. Whereas Article 7, Section 105(1)H of the Public Officers Law permits the legislative body of a municipality to enter into executive session to discuss the proposed acquisition, sale, or lease of real property, or the proposed acquisition of securities, or sale or exchange of securities held by such public body, but only when publicity would substantially affect the value thereof. Whereas Article 7, Section 105(1)F of the Public Officers Law permits the legislative body of a municipality to enter into executive session to discuss the medical, financial, credit, or employment history of a particular person or corporation, or matters leading to the appointment, employment, promotion, demotion, discipline, suspension, dismissal, or removal of a particular person or corporation. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the City of Batavia that upon approval of this motion, the City Council does hereby enter into executive session.
Seconded by Ms. Briggs. And call the roll, please.
Councilmember Pacino?
Yes.
Canale?
Yes.
McGinnis?
Yes.
Briggs?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Richmond?
Yes.
Bayakowski?
Yes.
Jankowski?
Yes.